Well, hello out there in Maeya TV land. I am Nina Childs, and I am here today with the incomparable director, producer, actor, and writer, Randy Kent. Randy, thank you for joining us today. How are you?
I'm very well. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Well, we are so happy to have you. I'm so excited about today's interview, just to kind of delve into some of the things that you've done. You've done a lot. But I do always like to start with letting the people out there know more about you. Where are you from?
Okay. Originally from Atlanta, Georgia. Born and raised, suburbs of Atlanta. When I was 10 years old, I started watching Eddie Murphy on Saturday Night Live, and I said, okay, that's what I want to do. I want to be Eddie Murphy.
So did you move to New York, or did you move to...
I moved to California.
Okay.
So I said, you know what? I'm going to be a stand-up comedy. I'm going to be a stand-up comic. I'm going to get on a sitcom, and then I'm going to be like the biggest movie star in the world. That was kind of my goal.
At 10?
At 10 years old. And I literally started writing scripts at 10 years old.
Really?
Yeah, I think I wrote my first feature-length screenplay when I was in high school. Like, I'd go into the lunchroom. Like, I'd skip lunch, and I'd go into the library, and I'd literally, on paper, this is showing my age, literally wrote, like, the entire script during my lunch period in high school. And then I'd go home, and I'd type it out, like, on hand. And, yeah.
That's so interesting. What happened with that script? Did you ever...
No. It's probably not any good. I haven't seen it in 100 years. But, yeah,
Do you still have it?
I don't even know.
Okay.
I have no idea. I'm sure it's somewhere in my archives, but yeah, I don't know. It'd be interesting to look at it. But no.
It's so crazy because you say you're from Atlanta. I'm like, are people actually ever from Atlanta?
Oh, yeah.
But I guess so.
Yeah, of course.
You are a living, breathing proof.
Exactly. Well, it's like what I say when I run into people from LA. It's like, oh, an LA native, because you don't really...
I'm an LA native.
You are, exactly. So I'm an Atlanta native.
Yeah.
No, it's like when I started out, right out of high school doing acting and stand-up comedy and improv and things like that in Atlanta. And I did some independent films and theater and stuff like that. You know, there wasn't a lot going on in Atlanta at the time. This was, talking about the early 90s.
What's the Mecca now?
Exactly. Then I moved out here, and then everything moved to Atlanta. So it's like, it's kind of a weird cross thing. But, and people say, oh, do you want to move back to Atlanta? And not really. I mean, I like the weather in LA. My home is here. I've been in LA for over 25 years. And, I like the weather here, and I go back to see my family in Atlanta a lot. But
Have you done any work in Atlanta?
I've done stuff like I did a few things in like South Carolina. I did a thing in Atlanta. So yeah, I do go back and do work in Atlanta for like short films and things like that. But yeah, I haven't done that much work in Atlanta. I'm mostly based in LA, or I travel all over the world and do stuff. So.
Well, we're going to get more into that.
Yeah,
you got some interesting stories. One thing that stood out to me when I was able to look into some of your projects is that you have a very keen eye for just some of the most beautiful imagery I've seen in film in a long time. I mean, every single shot is like a beautiful photograph. And so I was interested in your shot process. Like, are you using storyboarding, or are you just more of a fillet kind of person?
I only do storyboards if I need to, as far as like for action stuff or anything very specifically. But for the most part, I just literally, when I'm making a film, I lock myself in a room or at home, and I will just shot list the entire. Like, I'm a very detailed and organized person. I will do a shot list in my head because I'm also an editor as well, so I know kind of how I want it edited too. So I will shot list the entire film from beginning to all the way to the closing credits. So I know going in exactly what I want, and I work with the DP and all the crew people to make sure that happens. And at this point, I have kind of a reputation for being able to. I mean, on my website and my bios, it always says that I have a reputation for making a little go a long way and like a lot, because I do a lot of lower budget films and make them look like they're higher budget because for the eye of detail that I have in the films that I make. And also, being an editor as well, I'll go in and I'll edit it all the way to the deliverables, of the film, because I don't hand it off. I usually take over the polish edit because I know exactly what I want, and I can go in and make sure it happens on my own. I give 110%.
120%.
120%. 150. Yeah, let's do that.
And I mean, even with your shots, are you also helping to find locations? And is that also how you come about with this beautiful imagery?
Yeah, I mean, it depends on the budget and where those locations are. But for the most part, I'm in the process. Once I'm hired onto a film, I'm there from the very beginning, from casting to hiring crew to locations to all that stuff. I mean, So yeah, I'm involved all the way through.
I was going to ask you about your casting process. I actually saw the short film of the family at the
The
table.
Pursuit, yeah.
The Pursuit, yeah. That was some really incredible acting from some mostly unknowns at that time.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, wow, this is some incredible acting. So you had a hand in handpicking those actors.
Yeah. We did a casting process, and we met with everybody, and we usually see two or 300 people sometimes. For that one, it wasn't really that much because we were looking for very specific actors, Armenian and Middle Eastern type actors. So there was, a smaller pool to work from. But yeah, no, they were all incredible actors. And one guy he's one of the leads on The Chosen. So that's kind of cool,
He's broken out.
Yeah, it's kind of cool to see him pop up on that,
That's great.
Yeah.
And now, your reels are a very wide array of genres that you've been able to touch with your directing.
Correct.
What is your favorite genre to direct?
I like everything. I love a good story, and if I connect to it when I read it. But right now, comedy, because I've been doing a lot of thrillers and horrors the past few years. So I wanted, comedy is my first love. It's where I started, and there's something about being able to make people laugh, especially see it in a theater. But yeah, right now comedies, just because I just haven't done it in a while. So I just did this film in Chicago called Bob's Best Friends. It's about a guy who had a stroke, and he finds out he can talk to dogs. So he's communicating with these dogs talk to him. So it's a comedy and a drama as well. So that was a lot of fun doing that, just to return to my roots of comedy.
I love dogs.
Yeah.
I used to live in Chicago.
Oh, did you?
Yeah,
okay,
I did.
Yeah.
South Side, shout out to South Side. But I have to ask you,
my son
what
lives in
was it
Chicago.
like? He does? You have a son?
Yeah, he lives in South Side of Chicago, actually.
Really?
Yeah, South. Yeah.
How old is he?
He's 33.
And is he a filmmaker like you?
No, he's in the construction business. Yeah.
Oh, well, that's a great place to be if you're in construction.
Oh yeah. He's doing pretty well.
And a lot of rebuilding. So, but what was it like directing dogs?
It was fun. It was tough. It was rewarding all at the same time because, there were, our trainer Christine. She has all these dogs. They're all well trained. There's some, more well trained than others, obviously. But one of the dogs, our lead dog, he was phenomenal actor. We were all in awe of everything this dog was able to do. I mean, you tell him to go here, he goes there. You tell him to do this, he does that. There was no complaining whatsoever from this dog. And they were all the dogs are so sweet, but it was tough. I mean, because everything, once you get on that set, when you have an animal or a child on set, but specifically for this film, we had both. No one on that set is more important than that dog or that child. So it's if the dog doesn't want to act, we stop and we don't.
But you had the Harrison Ford of dog actors.
We had the Harrison Ford of dog actors. Yeah,
he just was a consummate professional.
He was amazing. Well, it's actually.
Yeah. Of course, it was a woman.
One little tidbit I found out, but about using female dogs, and there's a reason if you think about it.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I can imagine.
I didn't, and that's something. I mean, one thing I do is I like to learn on every film I've done. I've done this for a long time, and I learn something every film I do, and that was just one little weird tidbit that I learned on that film. Is the reason that female dogs are hired on films.
They're just better at taking direction.
Well, not really. No, more than that. No, think about it. We don't want to go too.
Okay, I thought that's where you were going.
No.
But I'm like, what?
I know.
It should be interesting. Well, I mean, hopefully we can see that because I would love to see that. That's interesting.
Yeah, we're editing the film right now. Hopefully by the fall of this year.
Is it going to festival or is it?
Oh yeah, it'll be festival. We already have distributors interested in everything. I mean, it's a movie with dogs, so everyone's interested. Yeah, everyone's interested in it. So yeah, it'll get picked up right away. I'm not worried about that. And we're also going to have some. We're going after some big name actors for the voice cast as well.
Oh wow.
Yeah, so it's going to be good, and probably by the end of the year, I think we'll have it out. I'm ready to go.
That's exciting.
And hopefully we'll have a big premiere in Chicago. That'd be the ultimate.
I would love to go. No, look.
Absolutely.
Let me know. I'll fly out there.
The Chicago Theater. That'd be kind of cool.
Oh yeah, the Chicago Theater is awesome.
Yeah.
Well, you have another very interesting film with a very interesting backstory, The Run King.
The Road King, yeah.
The Road King?
Road King, yeah.
Yes. Set in India.
Yeah.
Tell us about that process.
So it's called The Road King. It's shot in Bangalore, and all the actors speak Kannada, which I do not speak at all. So I did the film over Skype, and this is 10 years ago, before Zoom was even a thing. No one had heard of Zoom. Zoom hadn't even been invented yet. Skype was the king at the time. And I had trouble getting a visa to go out to India for various reasons, and we didn't want to. It got really started. We were in pre-production. We got all the actors, locations, and all that, and we were like, I just couldn't get the visa to go out there. And we were a week before I was supposed to fly out to do the film, and I still couldn't get out there. And we were like, okay, what do we do? We don't want to postpone it. We've come so far. We spent all this money. What do we do? So they decided, okay, maybe we'll try this new form of thing, of doing it online. So we tried like Google, Hangout. There's a few others at the time, but then Skype was the one they tried, and okay, that worked great. So I wound up for a year directing the film over Skype.
So what was the translation process, directing over Skype and with actors that don't speak? Did they speak English?
They all speak
okay,
English.
So they all speak English. Okay, so that wasn't
yeah. And I had an English script, so like I kind of knew, and like when they were acting, they were all acting in language. That was a big thing I learned in that film is like it really doesn't matter it's like about the feeling. You can tell what they're saying without knowing what they're saying, kind of thing. And also I had great first AD and people there who were kind of helping me and say, okay, they said this instead of this. So there was a lot of kind of weird back and forth stuff. Sometimes they would be shooting in the middle of India where there's no cell service whatsoever. So I actually couldn't get on Skype. So what they would do is they would shoot a scene, record it on their phone, and then WhatsApp it to me. I would watch it, give notes, and then they would shoot it again. This is why this took a year, because sometimes, it's in India, the internet in some of the places that was non-existent. So that was just how we had to do it. So yeah, it just made the process take a lot longer.
That was an arduous process.
It was an arduous process, but you know what? The blessing of it was, if I had been out there for the 2 or 3 weeks we were to shoot it, I would not have gotten what I got because we were able to spend so much time on it, getting it right. So that's why it took us a year, because we had a lot of start and stops, and there was, like monsoons happened and we had to stop production. There was all kinds of stuff that had I been out there, we would not have been able to get. So it was kind of a blessing in disguise. But the film, we released it in the theaters a couple of years ago, and I finally got to go out to India and meet the cast and crew. It was amazing because I edited the film as well, and I saw them on my computer for 10 years or 9 years or whatever it was, and finally seeing them and meeting them in person was like, I literally got choked up, like we all did. It was like meeting a long lost love after a while, who you've been talking to over Skype. And so it was a great time finally getting to go to India.
It just sounds like it was a great full circle experience.
It was, and even seeing the locations in person was like mind blowing to me, because I've been seeing them on my computer, like, oh, here we are.
Probably a little blurry too, no?
Yeah, it's like I never actually got to set foot in these locations. Now I'm finally here, so it was a wild experience, and we had like a week-long theatrical run in India, and they go all out in India for their films. There's dancing and singing, and there's like giant flowers, and there's a giant 20-foot poster of the lead actor in the street. It's amazing.
Oh, wow.
So we're definitely going to be doing another film, hopefully very soon. Maybe a sequel to Road King.
That's
so
really
I'm definitely
dope.
going to be going out again soon.
That's super, super dope.
Yeah,
That's
great. It's called Road King, and it'll be out. It's going to be out in VOD very, very, very soon.
Nice, and I'm sure that was a lesson in patience as well.
Yeah, just like the dogs.
That prepared you for the dogs.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
You're like,
again, every film has its challenges. So, yeah.
That's awesome. So, what are you working on currently? Because you got your hands in so many different pots.
I know. Well, I'm in editing for Bob's Best Friends. I'm gearing up. So my business partner and I, John, we have this production company. It's called There's No Box Studios. We have all these films that we're going to be releasing this year. One called Blood Tulip, another called A Different Eye, Ugly Shoes. Finally, my very first feature film called Life, Death, and Mini Golf. I'm cleaning that up right now because I want to release that. And that stars Kristen Wiig, who I knew back in the day.
She's an SNL alum.
Exactly, and she was a friend of mine back in the day. It was her first film as well. She was one of the stars of that movie. So I'm finally, wanting to get it out there under There's No Box. And we have a couple other projects that we're doing. And there's a faith-based film we're doing about a true story about a guy who went to prison and he became out a millionaire. We're doing another film called Capone's Kid. It's about what happens if Al Capone and Billy the Kid meet. So it's like a big, epic Western that we're raising money for. And, just editing and trying to finish up projects. We have a TV show called Cafe in the Void we're finishing up on. It was shot during the pandemic. and a couple other things. So
Blood Tulip.
Blood Tulip, yeah, that's the one going to be coming out very, very soon with Twin Engines, who are releasing Screenboat as well. And then, yeah, Bob's Best Friends, finishing up Bob's Best Friends, and then going to India, hopefully.
To do the follow-up.
To do the follow-up, yeah, to actually shoot out there.
Let's talk about the process for Blood Tulips. I know we talked a little bit about that off camera. I
Yeah.
think it's a very, very interesting what you guys were able to do.
Yeah.
So tell us a little bit about that.
Well, we shot it in Amsterdam. So it's about a woman who goes out to find her sister who's been kidnapped into the red light district sexual trade. And so she goes out there to find us. So we actually shot in the real red light district, but you know, you're not allowed to put cameras or shoot anything in that area. Mm-hmm. They have signs and everything saying no. So what we did was that we basically hid cameras all in, you know, our DP, he had a camera in his jacket. I had I think a GoPro in my hat. Someone else had like a cell phone camera. They were like kind of holding like this. So we basically snuck all the scenes.
What kind of images were you able to get with that?
Some were good, some were not great because it was nighttime as well. But no, I think we did pretty well. I mean, it looks great. So it came out pretty well because there's a lot of lights there and stuff like that. But it was more just an experiment.
Is there going to be a disclaimer at the beginning of the film, like
no,
there's a shot in the red light district?
No. We want people to guess for themselves.
We're going right in with this.
So what happens is, you know, because you have all the women in the windows and stuff when you walk by the red light district, right?
Oh, the workers.
The workers, right? They're trying to solicit people. And, you know, they don't like being people recording them or anything. Apparently what I found out, again, what I learned on another film is that, you know, they can't leave those windows. So they basically have to go to the bathroom in cups sitting next to the thing. So what happened was we were shooting, and I guess what happened was is when we were recording, we taped the red light on the camera so no one saw the red light, but I guess it fell off or whatever. One of the girls saw the red light, saw that we were recording. She picked up her glass and she threw it on the DP.
Oh my
we didn't find out until later what was in that glass. We thought it was just water or whatever. And our guide, who was basically our bodyguard there, is like, "No, dude, you need to go. You need to go shower. You need to go shower because that was not water. It's not
oh my goodness!
We're like, okay, I wish we'd have known that before going in. But yeah, that was a fun experience. Just being in Amsterdam, shooting in Amsterdam. I mean, the canals. Amsterdam, Holland is a gorgeous location, you know, with the tulip fields and all that stuff. But yeah, that's fun. So that movie I just got it to distributor, and it's going to be coming out with Twin Engines very, very, very soon. Within the next few months, we're finally going to be able to release that movie.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
And what a great story as well. Just all the behind the scenes of it. So we talked a little bit about what you've got going on next. Mm-hmm. And I always like to talk about dream collaborators. Just to end it off on that and where we can find you. What would be like a dream collaboration for you?
Well, because I'm a huge Eddie Murphy fan, I would love to work with Eddie Murphy. Even like just a scene, I would just love to.
Oh, because he is the one that got this engine started.
He's got my engine started when I saw him.
What was your favorite SNL character that he did?
Oh, Mr. Robinson's Neighborhood. Yeah.
Oh gosh, that was
or Buckwheat. I don't know. It's hard to say.
Was great
or James Brown. I don't know. It's hard in the hot tub. I don't know. It's hard to say. I mean, I would remember staying up late at night, like on Saturday night, to watch him. Like I don't know what it was. And
what's your favorite film of his?
I would have to say Beverly Hills Cop or the original 48 Hours.
Oh my God, the first Beverly Hills Cop?
Yeah. Oh,
nothing funnier than that.
No, nothing beats that.
Nothing funnier than that.
No. I mean, my dad and my sister and I, we were actually going to go see him in Atlanta. I'd do a stand-up show. And mind you, I was probably 13 years old. I was probably way too young to be going. But my dad got us tickets because he knew how big of a fan I was. He got us tickets to go see Eddie Murphy. But like literally the day of, it was canceled. I don't know why. Oh. It's like, I was disappointed.
So that was like almost, but there's a rumor going around that he might be returning to stand-up.
I hope so. But that would be
He was one of the best to ever do it.
Oh, he was. I actually saw him live one time. I was when I moved to LA and I was doing stand-up and improv at the Comedy Store. I was literally in the wing standing next to Louis Anderson, and we were both standing there watching Eddie Murphy. He was literally like 10 feet away from me. I was like, oh, wow. I was just awestruck. I was like, oh my God, it's Eddie Murphy.
Well, Louis Anderson ain't too bad either.
No, he's not.
Rest in peace to Louis Anderson.
And yeah, it was amazing. And then like Arsenio Hall showed up, and it was just like whoa.
What a time.
Just imagine, getting to LA, and all of a sudden you're in the presence of all these people. I'm sitting there outside the Comedy Store talking to Robert Townsend, and it's like it was kind of mind blowing,
I've met Rob a few times.
Have you?
He's a cool guy.
He's a cool guy. So yeah,
brilliant mind. He used to write for Eddie back in the day.
Yeah. I think that's why I was there, because Eddie it was sort of a return for Eddie. I'm not really sure, but yeah, this was, I don't know what year this was, maybe 90 something, but Yeah, Eddie Murphy would be a dream collaboration. I would love to work with him.
That's dope. Well, hopefully that'll happen for you. You seem like
I hope so,
you're on
yeah.
the right track. You're doing beautiful work.
Thank you.
Keep it up. I know I'm going to be keeping tabs on you.
Thank you. Yeah.
Because I am very impressed with what I've seen so far.
Thank you.
Please let our people out there at Maeya TV know where they can find you if they want to follow you or get in touch with you.
You go to Facebook, Randy Kent, or randykent.com. There's noboxstudios.com that John and I have. I'm on Instagram. There's No Box Studios Instagram, or my Instagram is Randy L. Kent on Instagram. And that's Facebook, and that's pretty much it. Yeah,
Randy Kent.
I just look up my name. Look up my name, Randy Kent, on VOD or online, and you'll find some stuff on me and see my work. So I really appreciate it.
Well, that's awesome. We really appreciate you coming and talking to us today.
Thank you.
And best of luck with everything.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for watching out there. We'll be back with more interviews, so stay tuned. Bye bye.
Thank you.
Yeah, you should think about getting some of your work in with